Hi, I'm Jolly Corey, and I have too many festive Blu-rays. Is that even the plural? Blu-rays? It's Christmas time again. I try not to be cynical. I try to actually get into the spirit and enjoy this time of year. It's been harder these last couple of years. The world's on fire and not in a pleasant chestnuts roasting on an open sort of way. I'd like to feel that warmth on the inside in a pleasant way without the burning, preferably. So I retreat into the traditions. I tried making a bunch of snacks and decorating a real tree last year. That kinda worked. But at some point you've made a batch of sausage balls for you and your wife on a Christmas morning and realize the recipe you use is calibrated for 8 people, and you end up with a giant sack of leftover sausage balls in the freezer that serves as a grim totem for how terrible the preceding year had been as it slowly freezer burns. But on the positive side, I watched a whole grip of Christmas movies. That's my happy place. There's a lot of Christmas media out there, and surprisingly, not a lot of it is great. Christmas movies are ridiculously hard to get right because everybody's perception of what makes Christmas, well, Christmas, is so deeply personal. The best Christmas movies lean into that spin, though. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Krampus, The Night Before, heck, even A Charlie Brown Christmas are all about the characters' wildly different expectations and meanings for the holidays. But in the last decade, no movie has hit that sweet spot better than 2011's Arthur Christmas. Now stick with me, I know what you're saying. Really, Corey, Arthur Christmas? The Santa Claus movie where Aardman sold out and made a CGI film that didn't look like anything else Aardman had ever made before and was marketed by a loose Justin Bieber tie-in song, and basically flopped out of the gate because they tried to open it on a Thanksgiving weekend against a Twilight movie, the revival of the Muppets, and Happy Feet 2? Yeah, that one. It's a stone-cold classic that contains the most Christmassy feelings per minute of any Christmas film I've ever seen, and it's an inarguable addition to the family Christmas movie canon. It manages to be Aardman to its core despite its medium. It's the only modern Christmas movie that truly understands the complicated family dynamics that surround the Christmas season. It's effortlessly enjoyable, and it perfectly embodies some true meanings of both Christmas and Santa Claus. Changing mediums isn't easy. When you're known for a style in the way Aardman is, it's hard to make any tweaks to it, especially when that style is so immediately recognizable. Sure, Aardman dipped their toes into feature CGI animation with Flushed Away, but it was designed in a way that made it look like a stop-motion animated Aardman film. When compared to Flushed Away, Arthur Christmas is a hyperspace leap for Aardman in terms of visual prowess and CG. It's a gorgeously animated film that flows so fluidly and makes great use of its globe-trotting setting. The characters are iconically designed, the lighting and cinematography are A-tier, and the environments are richly detailed and varied. It looks so significantly different than any Aardman film that came before or after, and yet it retains the heart of what makes an Aardman project unique. Aardman is more than its distinct claymation style. It's a commitment to rich, instantly relatable characters, tightly told stories that are deep with thematic resonance, and so many puns and visual gags that the film feels like it's gonna break apart like a Christmas cracker. At the core of each and every Aardman movie lies a fundamental sweetness, gentleness, and mature sentimentality that embraces you like a warm, deep hug after a hard day. And Arthur Christmas is perhaps the best Aardman film at articulating all of these core ideas because it's so inherently a film about a family dynamic. That may be Arthur Christmas's greatest trick, in fact. It smuggles its universal narrative about a family each struggling to have their idea of the perfect Christmas into a much higher concept idea about a vast sci-fi Santa setup. It's also pointedly multi-generational. We have our greatest generation / silent generation characters, boomers, Gen Xers, and millennials, all with vastly different perspectives on their place in the family and in the Christmas traditions. Malcolm, the current Santa, is one of a long lineage of Santas participating in a family business that has spanned centuries. He's our current platonic ideal of Santa, the Coca-Cola Santa, baby boomer Santa. He means well and seems to be a decent guy, but he's become more of a Christmas figurehead than an actual go down the chimney and deliver the toys Santa. But he's also completely about the job, to the detriment of raising his kids. He's disconnected from Christmas as a holiday. It's just the job, the thing he has to do. He doesn't get to experience it, really. His eldest son, Steve, is a type A Gen Xer obsessed with technology and efficiency. He's also the de facto Santa in waiting. He sees Christmas as a project. It's a thing he can perfect. If everything is more efficient and more effective this year than it was last year, he has provided the optimal amount of Christmas joy. He sees that joy as toys delivered to children by the end of the night, a trackable metric. Steve wants to be in charge of this grand machine he's created, but his father simply will not give up the power. Because of his great success in modernizing and optimizing Christmas, Steve's made the job so much easier for his father to keep doing as long as he wants it.
That baby boomer Santa, she's never gonna die.
And here's where we start seeing Arthur Christmas's surprisingly insightful, broader societal metaphors start to take shape. The boomers haven't made way for Gen X to get their turn at the steering wheel, and it's looking like they honestly might get lost in the shuffle.
I can't wait for year 71!
In the rearview mirror of that generational struggle is Grand Santa, played with serious gusto by Bill Nighy. He's our Greatest Generation Silent Generation representative for tonight's proceedings. As the previous and now retired Santa, he mostly sits and watches the operation of the North Pole grow more and more alien to him by the day. His old sleigh is in mothballs, they don't use reindeer anymore, everything is computerized, mechanized, and runs without soul. This infuriates him. He's a real back-in-my-day kind of guy. He's positive that things were better the old way and romanticizes the past. This causes some problems down the road, toxic nostalgia and all. It almost leads to the total collapse of Christmas and Santa Claus as a concept. Finally, in this tale of male heirs, we have the black sheep of the family, Arthur, our protagonist, a millennial through and through. He's so sensitive, riddled with overwhelming anxiety, but also so earnest. He messes everything up, though, a walking disaster. He doesn't have a head for the business, so they keep him mostly out of the way. But he loves Christmas, loves it so much that they've put him in the mailroom answering letters to Santa. He idolizes his dad and is enamored with the entire Christmas operation. He believes in the thing with all of his heart, which is what sets this whole train rolling, really. Outside of the main conflict, we have Margaret Claus, Malcolm's wife, and the secret weapon of this movie. She is an absolute dynamo, hyper-competent, and the glue that holds the family together. She gets the best gags in the movie, and she's an absolute legend.
Mum, are you okay?
Polar bear, dear. Attacked me on the ice. Good job I did that online survival course, or it'll be one less for Turkey next year.
We also have a full range of elves who are all pretty richly drawn, and they're sort of Navy SEALs meets Mission Impossible, but in a jolly sort of way aesthetic. Though the release of Despicable Me the previous year and the near simultaneous development of Prep and Landing for Disney kind of beat them to the punch on that. Our standout is Bryony, who is indefatigable, unflappable, more than a little bit off, and the moral compass of the movie. In 10 years, everyone at the North Pole will either be working for her or be dead by her hand.
Standard! Issue! Disrupt!
There's no time for a bow!
There's always time for a ball!
Arthur is caught between the past and the future in the film. It drives the central conflict. He loves the details, history, and romanticized lore of the past, but he's also impressed by his brother's operation and vision for the future. He's taken advantage of by his grandfather, who wants to exploit that romanticized history for personal glory, and his brother won't help him deliver a missing gift to a child because it would ruin his sterling track record, preferring to write off the missed child as a rounding error. Arthur is critical as the fulcrum of our generational conflict because he is deeply uncynical. In fact, the message of this film is delightfully postmodern in the way it handles these seemingly fundamentally opposed concepts of what Christmas should be. As opposed to simply discarding what came before to forge a new path forward, Arthur represents a synthesis that can unify disparate ideologies and save Christmas with worry. But the film isn't all high-minded Christmas pontification. It's also hilarious in such signature Aardman fashion. Its jokes vary wildly from broad physical comedy, deadpan zingers, clever film references, and lots of puns, both verbal and visual. But the humor isn't just situational, it grows from the characters, their relationships, and where they're at in the hierarchy. The film is never puerile either, never crass, never lowest common denominator. Okay, with the exception of one or two gags. It's a lived-in sense of humor that feels deeply considered, but light and effervescent.
Oh dear. Now I've just got to visit the elf hospital, look over a treaty with Greenland and make the gravy. Then we'll finally have the whole family home for Christmas.
It's impossible.
They used to say it was impossible to teach women to read.
Quantitative easing.
Hello? Elf, wrap your head. Come on, lad, you're as much use as a cheese chopstick.
Santa said they don't matter 100%.
Is it true? Children aren't real, they're just antimatter.
It's Christmas.
Christmas is for kids. You grow out of it.
What, in the last 6 minutes?
Sleigh fever, they call it.
pressure of Christmas sends a man do-lally-tap. Santa Claus the 16th got it 1802. Every child that year got a sausage nailed to a piece of bark.
But the most important part of Arthur Christmas lies in the title. It's one of those rare Christmas movies that takes a successful stab at trying to figure out the true meaning of Christmas. And it does that by figuring out the true meaning of Santa. Christmas is, in Arthur Christmas's estimation, a Russian nesting doll of traditions that we all pull from. It has a significance to each of us that is neither right nor wrong. We each have a Christmas. Put that all together and you get the Christmas. Is Malcolm wrong to make Christmas the one day of the year he actually gets to sleep in and rest a bit? No, he's Santa. It's been an extremely long day. Is Arthur wrong for wanting to play a Christmas board game with dinner after watching The Global Delivery like it's the world's greatest reality game show? Absolutely not. We all have the things that make us happy at the holidays, and we should do those things. It's a time for joy. But the other key lies in the song at the end. Bill Nighy singing a wonderfully punch-drunk cover of Make Someone Happy from the musical Do-Re-Mi. Christmas is an opportunity to bring joy into someone else's life, the time of year for selflessness and generosity. And that same selflessness is the key that unlocks Arthur as a protagonist in Arthur Christmas, and ultimately, spoiler alert, makes him a worthy Santa Claus.
Don't worry, son, only a raving lunatic.
I have to worry! It's the only thing I'm good at!
Worry me!
Santa Claus is, admittedly, mostly perpetuated by commercialism at this point, but in a primal sort of way, there's still magic there. Santa allows children hope that is frequently manifested. It creates that mystery and wonder that allows events to crystallize into memories and helps memories form into traditions that get passed down to new generations. In Arthur Christmas, we also see a sly recentering of a familiar Christmas narrative as well. It's a gorgeous metaphor for the lengths a parent will go to make sure their kid gets the one thing they so desperately want for Christmas, and for purely selfless reasons. If you're like a little kid watching this, first, welcome, I guess. Second, why? No, what? Third, skip forward a bit, okay? Santa Claus is an exercise in deception, yes. But it's also, paradoxically, an exercise in selflessness on a parent's part. You're attributing your struggle to acquire the perfect gift for your kid to a guy who doesn't exist, and that guy is going to get all of the credit, at least initially. But it's not important. It's about that pure moment when their face lights up and they get the exact thing they had dreamed of all year. And to think that someone in the world heard their hopes, cared about them, and delivered. As lies go, it's hard to get nobler. And that moment of pure joy and the pain and struggle that go into making it happen is the true through line of Arthur Christmas. Arthur is Santa, but he's also every parent that stood in line on Black Friday, or had a fist fight in a toy store, or dressed in a Turbo Man costume to win back their child's love.
Jamie!
Okay, maybe not that last one. But in that way, and in that moment, Santa is real, and he cares. And Arthur Christmas makes me believe just that little bit more. Believe in Christmas. Believe in Santa. Believe in peace and goodwill to men and all of that naive, hopeful stuff you hear around the holiday times. The world is dark, and it seems like it's getting darker every day. So when you find something that brings a glimmer of wonder or the tiniest sliver of light into this world, hold on to it and show it to others. And this Christmas, be like Arthur. It's so important to make someone happy. Make just one someone happy. And you will be happy too. Happy holidays, everybody.
And may 100% of your Christmases be white.
Thank you all for watching Too Many Tapes. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell icon to get updates for when I upload videos. Do you have an underrated Christmas classic you'd like to see added to the Christmas canon? Let me know in the comments. If you want to help out a small YouTube creator, consider donating $1 or more to my Patreon. I spend every dollar I make on Patreon directly on the show, so your support really helps me keep this whole operation afloat. If you donate $20 or more a month, you're my own personal Santa Claus, and you get to have your name in the credits in an enormous font like NATO Kitsch. You can also be like Mippa and have your name in an enormous font too. For $10 or more a month, you're Mrs. Claus, because you secretly keep the whole thing running, and your name gets to be pretty big in the credits as well. And for $5 a month, you're Bryony the Elf, because you get early access to my videos, and one day you will gift wrap the moon. For from the bottom of my heart, happy holidays. Thank you all for watching Too Many Tapes, and I'll see you in 2022. I'm gonna go get some eggnog. You want any eggnog? Does anybody ever want eggnog? Spoiler alert, it's October. It was 90 degrees outside today, but I'm filming ahead for Christmas, and so I'm wearing a Christmas sweater, and it's very hot.